Here is the seventh 3 minutes narrative segment of the Eternal Griot, Tales of the Seven-Eyed Calabash. Part 7 Chapter 1, The Land of Unspoken Tales. Westward beyond map and memory, where the air grew thin with forgetting, lay Obiadaki, the womb of echoes, a land spoken of only in unfinished songs. It was not a place, but a silence too deep to fill. Kambeni, no longer fully man nor myth, walked with Nadi toward its heart. Here, the seventh eye of the Calabash pulsed not with visions, but with echoes. No birds flew. No wind sang. The ground did not remember being touched. Only the weight of unspoken tales, half buried in the soil like bones without names. Chapter 2, The Shadows of Starias. The past fields where shadows played shadows of people who once were, or never were, or could still be. Each shadow offered a tale. A warrior who never spoke again after slaying his brother. A mother who gave birth to a prophecy. A child who became a river. Kambeni listened to each without judgment. With every tale, the Calabash's seventh eye opened a little wider. Then came his own shadow, broken and doubled. It whispered, "You have become every story but your own." Chapter 3, The Library of Breathing Words. In the valley's center stood a mound of ash that breathed. From it rose the Library of Breathing Words. No walls, just shelves of floating glyphs and glowing dust. Each word was alive. Each sentence pulsed with heartbeat. Inside waited Ednika, the first Griot, said to be born from the first lightning that ever touched a drum. She was as old as the idea of language. Her voice was made of winds never heard. She spoke, "Kambeni, son of rhythm, bearer of the Calabash, you seek the final story. But it is your own. You are the story that binds the others. You are the Griot who must forget to remember." Chapter 4, The Sacrifice of Self. She offered him a single gourd carved with his name. "To take this," she said, "is to erase yourself from every story you've told but keep them alive in others." Kambeni turned to Nadi. "Will I forget you?" She answered, "Only if you stop singing." He drank. And the world inside him burned. He saw every tale he had carried, every kingdom, every curse, every whisper fly from his soul like birds escaping a fire. And when the fire ended stood, nameless, but filled. Chapter 5, The Empty Room. Outside the library, the world had changed. The sky had no clouds, but it wept anyway. Trees bowed as he passed. The Calabash, now glowing from within, closed all its eyes, and for the first time, hummed. He beat his drum. But no sound came. Because it was no longer for him to play. It was now for others, those who had heard his tales, to carry the rhythm forward. Chapter 6, The Birth of the Winds. Nalma climbed the last hill, where the wind was born. There, he placed the Calabash in the center of a stone circle, and spoke for the last time, "I was called Kambeni. I became the Griot. I am now the silence between drums." The wind answered. Here is the 8th 3 minutes narrative segment of the Eternal Griot, Tales of the Seven-Eyed Calabash. Part 8, The Drum That Remembered Rain. Chapter 1, The Dying Drums of Iyala. Far south, in the fading forest of Iyala Kura, where even trees whispered in drought, drums had fallen silent. Not broken but mute. The wood refused to sing. The sky refused to weep. Crops turned to dust. Rivers forgot how to flow. Children were born without names. The elders said the last rain had died screaming, taken by a cursed drum carved from a tree that once sang to the clouds. That drum had vanished. But now, the wind brought rumors of a Griot with seven-eyed wisdom. They waited. And he came. No longer Kambeni, but still draped in rhythm, with the Calabash slung like a moon across his back. He arrived walking on cracked earth, and where his feet touched, the ground pulsed with memory. Chapter 2, The Tree That Sang. Deep in the forest skeleton stood the Orion tree, oldest of all trees, now blackened and split by lightning centuries ago. It had once been sacred, guarded by songbirds with feathers of mist. The lost drum called Orolmi, the rain-song drum, had been carved from its fallen limb by a weaver of storms. But in greed, the drum had been hidden. When it disappeared, so did the rains. Now, the orange tree whispered to the Griot, not with leaves, but with scent and silence. "Bring me back my echo," it said. And the calabash trembled. The 8th journey began, to find the drum that remembered the sky. Chapter 3, The Desert of Forgotten Sound. Guided by the 6th eye and the pull of dry thunder, the Griot and Nadi entered the desert of forgotten sound, a scar of land where all stolen music wandered. Here, sand hummed with broken melodies. Instruments half buried in dunes sobbed in wind. And echoing footsteps answered with the laughter of lost ancestors. There, they met a man of Bonegbo near Agun, the keeper of Sound's tomb, who collected broken instruments and unplayed notes. He wore a crown of flute reeds and robes stitched from torn lyrics. He said, "Greater than the rain-song drum sleeps beneath the bones of the first river. But beware. It remembers why it left. And it may not wish to return." Chapter 4, The Test of Mimarith. Griot found the place, a crack rivered, its shape like a serpent mid-dance. In its center was a mound of stone. Beneath it, the rain-song drum. When he touched it, a flood of memory struck him, the laughter of a child dancing in the first rain. The orange tree trembling as its limb was taken. A man playing the drum to summon storms, then hoarding the clouds for a single village. A mother crying as her baby died from thirst. The drum wept. Not water, but sound. "Greater than if you wish me to sing again," it said, "you must give up the sky inside your soul." The Griot nodded. And played. Chapter 5, The Song That Broke the Sky. The drum sang. Not with thunder, but grief. A rhythm that spoke of promises broken. A beat that reminded the clouds of their oath. A whisper to the wind, calling it home. And the sky cracked. One drop fell. Then another. Then the flood came. Iyalakura danced. Children laughed. Drums beat without hands. The orange tree bloomed with silver leaves. And in its shade, the Griot fell to his knees, exhausted, hollow, and whole. Chapter 6, A Name Returns. The elders of Iyalakura gathered. They asked for the Griot's name. He said, "Greater than I gave it to the rain." But a child stepped forward and touched his hand. "You are Amire," she said. "The one who brings what was taken." And the calabash did not tremble. It hummed. The 8th story complete.